Iawn, mae'n dechrau fod datganiad sef bod y cyfarfod yma yn
Usual statement, this meeting is being recorded, and if you're not happy with this, please leave the meeting now. Thank you. Good morning, everybody, to the Performance and Resources meeting in Plastanable. It's not in Plastanable, actually, he's in headquarters, but anyway. Ivor, welcome back after your treatment. We're hoping to see you on Friday, I believe.
Sorry. Diolch yn iawn, a diolch I pawb sydd wedi mestyn.
Thank you, and thanks to everybody who sent me a message to wish me well. It's good to be back in the sun as well.
Okay, yes, Ivar. Okay,
thanks, Ivar. One more point. With the development day on Friday, if you haven't been in touch with Sarah already, to say that you're attending, and if you want food, because there's food available in the Oakley Arms, so if you could let Sarah know, please, what you want, so that she knows the numbers. Any apologies? Louise Hughes. Hopefully she's still on the mend, and her daughter as well. Naomi as well. She has another meeting. Does anybody want to declare an interest? Minutes. Rhys has his hand up. Good morning. I just wanted to say briefly, I'll have to leave the meeting about 11 o'clock today if the meeting carries on after that. I just wanted to say that, just in case I disappear during a discussion. I just wanted to mention that, that's all. Thanks, Rhys. Going back to the minutes. I take it you've had a look at them. Will anybody propose that they're correct? And when? Will anybody second that? Any matters arising, or are you happy as is? Okay, thank you. On to item 4, action sheet. Yuan will be leading on this one. As you can see, there's a list here, and the actions there are noted. In the report, we noted that we were going to remove a couple, but we are now going to retain the last one. There's a paper being prepared at the moment. It'll be discussed in the next meeting. So the first report, income report from Audit Wales, it's being prepared by John, and it will be prepared for the next working group. We haven't heard anything since on diversification since then, and we're waiting to hear from them. And there will be a paper submitted to the working group. Okay, thank you. Any comments, anybody? On to the Freedom of Information Act. Bethan, you're taking this one, are you? As you can see, this is the annual report on the Freedom of Information request. We had 50 requests last year. 28 were dealt with under the Freedom of Information Act itself, and 22 were dealt with under the Environmental Information Regulations. Of these, most of them related to planning or policy matters, and quite a lot involved agreements that we have in place at the moment, especially in relation to IT, and one or two also requests relating to the press. I'm happy to accept any questions or any comments from you, but otherwise, as you can see, the recommendation is to note the content of the report. Thank you, Bethan. Does anybody have any comments to make? If not, thank you, Bethan. On to the authorities risk register. Iwan. As you can see, the risk register here. And the 3.4, it notes that we have 19 risks on the risk. One classed as high, 14 classed as medium, and 4 classed as low. We have added one element as a result of the Senate elections following the authorities meeting back in December of last year. And you did raise some comments last time that we need to look at the leadership team needs to look at the risks again. And there are several risks that have been noted as a result of the work that we've been undertaking, and those have reduced. So I think that it's been a fair assessment, and it has been in the past, perhaps. And the paragraph 1.8, there is a summary of the risks. We are recommending that we remove the Carneddau landscape scheme from the risk register because this project is coming to an end at the end of March. I would also like to draw your attention to one mistake in the Welsh version on page 18, where it says remaining risk. The color is supposed to be amber, but it's red. So just a small mistake there. So the recommendation is to note the content of the report. Does anybody have any comments or representations to make? If not, thank you very much, Iwan. Moving on to item 7. Dewi. Welcome, Dewi. I'll be taking it on his behalf. So this is a report on the budget update for 2025-26. This is a report that you see 3 times a year, and this is the last one for this current financial year. We're in the process of closing down the accounts, and we'll be bringing you a further report, which will be the autumn report. The budget was set back in February 2025, and any projects, and the projects have been listed and any payments noted as well. We've also been advised that there will be additional capital, 1 million of additional funds has come in February to be spent by the end of the year. And it was last week that we heard that there is 635,000 of revenue monies. And that means that we will be capping the deficit. The figures are not reflected in this report because we heard it so late in the day, and they're not in the table either. The table in part 2 gives you a summary of the revised revenue budget, and there's more detail on that in Appendix 1. And under 2.3, we've noted that we have addressed the deficit somewhat because there was more interest than we anticipated. And there are other underspends as well. So we're now reporting that there's a deficit of 383,000, but with the additional money, there won't be any deficit, and any money will be set aside to address any deficits in the future. Part 3 is exactly the same as the capital budget, and noting any changes to the revised capital budget, and it's reflected in the table in front of you. Part 4 of the report. This table shows what the net expenditure is up to now in the budget, and also a comparison with previous years. 2024-2025, the expenditure is similar, and the capital expenditure is a little bit higher, and that reflects that there has been more capital funds available this year. And there is a note there that notes how that 383,000 has been created, if you like. 63 of that is from the salary provision, but the provision wasn't quite as much as we forecasted. And of course, we mentioned the interest as well. In part 4, there is a summary according to the different services and any variations and any information that we thought was relevant to the different services. On to part 5. This draws attention to any variance between the budgets over 30,000, which were not in the original budget. That those are noted under 5.2. Although they're new variants, they do not affect the deficit or the baseline. They are monies that have come from funds or parking for Llyn-Tygyd, for example, or payments for parking in other places. So the recommendation is to approve the report and note the current financial situation for 25-26 and approve the 103,000 traditional boundaries payment. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Jan. Edgar, propose the recommendation. Was anybody willing to propose a second that? Thank you. Does anyone want to make any comments? Everybody happy? Okay, thank you, Sean, for that. Einir has her hand up. I didn't want to say anything, sorry. I was just putting my hand up to show that I am in agreement, that's all. On to item 8, which is the corporate work program update, E1. This is an update of the progress that has been made in the 3rd and 4th quarter. And we thought that it would be prudent to provide you with that information as we deliver different projects and any enterprises or ventures agreed upon, and include improvements for the authority. As you can see in part 2 of the report, we've highlighted the 3 elements in red, and we've provided more information there. The production and engagement strategy for footpath work in Eryri, and the work will progress throughout 2026 until the engagement strategy is presented to the authority in September. It will be a digital strategy to lead the way for the future. So there's further information on that. You can see that the recommendation is to discuss and note the progress on the attached corporate work program set out in appendix 1. We usually run through it page by page. The majority are now green, so which this means that this reflects well on the officers and the progress made during the year. So there are very few issues that have been highlighted here. Thank you very much for the good work. Okay, we'll run through them page by page. If anybody wants to raise any comments, please put your hand up or your virtual hand up. Page 42 to start with, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60. Everybody happy up to now? On to 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, Delys has her hand up. Delys Cricket. I just wanted to note on page 71, just quickly, in relation to the information system strategy and digital strategy. What can we expect in June? It states submission of the work. Would it be a draft strategy or will be something be discussed before then? I just wanted an idea really where we'll be at by then. Thank you. We'll have 5 pieces of work that we are working on as communications, admin and IT sections together. I'll discuss this further in my report, but there will be a new communication strategy for the authority, and we don't have digital content strategy for the social media at the moment, and so those will be presented to you, and there will be an IT strategy from the IT section as well. So those are 2 different streams of work. But they're coming from different teams. That's right, yes. I'll be leading on the communications one and the social media one, and the IT will be leading on the IT one. But we're working closely together on these as well. Okay, thank you for that. Thanks, Iwan, and thanks, Delys. On to back to page 73.
Just on staff engagement and well-being.
With regarding to staff engagement and well-being, how much input does the staff have into that? I take it that this is top-down, or what's the process around this? We do have a staff forum, which includes good representation of the different sections of staff, and we update them with any changes, any policies that are being discussed in the delivery team, etc. Then input would come in from the staff and they discuss it in their own teams. So there's a cross-section on that forum. Is there a mechanism for staff to be able to submit their own ideas? Is there anything in front of us that has come from the bottom up? or are the ideas of the managers down? It's a mix, really. We do have some ideas coming in and we discuss it. Most of those come through the staff forum, and there are different matters that we've considered over the years, that if it was a good idea, and we've agreed on different elements. So it works both ways, certainly. If it only came one way, I don't think it would work, and it wouldn't be very healthy at all. So there is a clear mechanism there. And if the unions are also involved as well, of course, because we consult with them. I'd just like to add, it's great to see the progress and the reasoning behind it, and that's why I wanted to know, really, for information, really. Thanks, Tim. Staff comments are really important at the end of the day. Just wanted to add to that with regard to the review of the local development plan. Angela is holding workshops with all of the teams, and obviously we're intending to incorporate the objectives into the plan, and that's a part of the discussions as well, just to confirm that. Thank you. Back to page 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, and last of all, 87. Any comments, anybody? Everybody happy? Thank you very much, and thanks Ewan for that. On to item 9, therefore, which is the progress report on external grant funding. John, thanks, Chairman. Yes, this is the report that you'll be aware of. You get this report every 6 months. It gives you an update on the project so that you know where we're at as an authority. The priorities for the projects have not changed. That's under Appendix 1. And you're welcome to go forward your ideas, and they're in accordance with Cynllun Eryri and our priorities at the moment. Number 2 there, project update. That's the way that we approve projects and have a look at them as an authority. It doesn't quite work for different reasons, and I'm undertaking an internal review on that at the moment. And there's a meeting with all of the heads in relation to this later on this month. And as that changes and evolves, I'll give the authority a further report on that. As far as the projects themselves are concerned, you will have heard in the part 2 of the report there, you've heard from Naomi in last month's working group that the Canada partnership is coming to an end. One thing to add with regard to what Naomi said, I think the continuity or heritage of that project is very important. The partnership that were happening on the Carneddau, that are happening now, they just didn't happen naturally, that they are now. I don't want to take the success of that for granted. There are national organizations, the RSPB, farmers, grazers, ourselves. Those partnerships are happening and they continue to happen, although the project has come to an end, and I think that's worth noting. But that project has now been completed. You will be familiar with the Celtic Rainforest Life project, which is drawing to an end now. For completion in 2027, there will be a conference on the project, noted in the 2.2 there in Bangor University in April. I'm looking forward to that. It will be a very interesting conference. 2.3, you're very familiar with this. It's taking up a lot of our resources at the moment. Naomi isn't here this morning, but we do have a more detailed session on Plas on Friday. So hopefully we'll see a lot of you on Friday. It'll be an opportunity for you to have a word with the architect, which is important, not just with us as officers. We can talk with Elgan, Shan. We'll be going around the place on Friday, and you'll have an opportunity to get into the skin and see where the pinch points are, where the opportunities and problems may arise. National Park partnerships. And this is the organization that draws money. And as you can see there, Vodafone and Amex have started capital projects there involving nature recovery. Ffermio Bro has been very successful. We've had a lot of success with the panel has been held last month, and there's another one to come. There's a lot of interest in this, and it's brilliant to see that. And 2.6 there's 2.7. We have also drawn in a lot of national grid projects. I think this is the most money that is in the fund, and that includes Wales and England, and we're drawing a lot and important monies in order to address conservational work there. The project North is also continuing. You would have discussed it under 2.2 and the INRS program, the right tree in the right place. Those are two pretty big strategic projects that we have. The Brilliant Basics. Hopefully they will be progressed quickly now. One for expenditure in the short term in the stables in Aberystwyth. There are 2 layers to that, and I'll be saying a bit more about this in the next working group. Long term in the stables, we'll be employing architects to see at what we can do in the long term, but in the short term, we will be using this budget to just tidy the place up. We need a bit of spend there, really. And the same goes for Pen y Pass as well. Part 3, we've been throwing in money for the SLSP, Welsh Government's programme. Just one thing to update you on that. It's not such good news. We won't be moving on with the wildlife Eryri. 200,000. We've had a lot of difficulties with progressing that one, and we just can't do it within the time required, really. So we're losing that money. That hasn't happened before. I'm afraid it's just going to happen this time. There are lessons to be learned, and which can be avoided in the future, but all of the rest of them are moving forward very positively. And like Shan mentioned earlier in paragraph 4.1, she's mentioned the underspend. We accepted the offer of just over £1 million of underspend. And Shan also mentioned that there is additional money in reserve that's come in as well. And that's it, basically. I'm reviewing what's in Appendix 2, and I will be presenting a paper to you pretty soon. So the recommendations there are for you to note the updates on the capital funded projects. review and agree the priorities in applying for grant funding, Appendix 1 and Appendix 2, but there may be a change to that in the near future. Thanks for that, John. Interesting and exciting comments there. Any comments, Tim? Just to say, brilliant, really. It's great to see this. And every now and again, some things fall to the wayside, such as that one that you mentioned. But I'm sure there are good reasons for that. The specific reasons for that is the time to deliver it was very quick turnaround. It was work in river and streams, and so between up to April, and we needed planning permission for it as well, and that was an additional pressure. And with other pressures that have arisen, we were just not able. But perhaps there will be money for us to be able to deliver that in the future. These comments that we've relayed back to the government, yes, they are. There can be an issue with projects like that, but it's great to see that the government said that there wasn't any money, but they still offered us the money. We're grateful for that, always. Thanks, Tim and John. Please, did you want to come in? Thank you. It is a very heartening report. I did have some comments on Appendix 2 as it happens, so I'm glad that there's going to be a review on that. My main concern about that was, does it take enough note of the pressures on resources and staffing resources? For example, I think it has been included in one of the development projects program box there, but I just wanted to draw attention to that. And the other thing I'd like to see in a flowchart like this is that there is room for us to review. I take it that it happens naturally in any case, that is to review decisions and do projects going the right way, and are there enough opportunities within the flowchart to make decisions on the basis of the lessons that are being learned. I take it that that will be considered in the review. One question that I have, in addition to that, on paragraph 2.4, just so that I understand, and I'm just showing my ignorance here, and forgive me for that, is there a specific commitment or an expectation by these private companies that are funding in relation to raising awareness, or are there any expectations with regard to where that money is being spent? I can see Vodafone and Amex there. They're two commercial companies. Can you say a bit more about that? I know that the expenditure is minor, but I just wanted to understand a bit more about that. There is an expectation. For example, there's a lot of money that's come in. The big one was BMW, and as part of the BMW money, we undertook a lot of advertising. There were photos. They were advertising, say, in magazines, etc. There's a lot of photos of this park included, and so that investment has been made as a result of that. Obviously, there are some requirements. They have to have something out of it as well. So yes is the answer to that question. But it's not too limited. It's quite extensive, really. With regard to where the money goes, the National Park Partnership tried to disseminate the money throughout the whole of the national parks. We were worried at one point with the Amex money. Amex is close to South Downs National Park, but the money doesn't just go into that park. It comes to every park. Some may gain better than others, but in the long term, mid-term, the money goes to every park in Wales and England via the work of drawing this money in. Okay, thanks. There are other hands up, but I was just going to propose that we accept the recommendations. But obviously, the discussions are continuing. Thanks. Ifor?
Yn sgil cwestiwn Rhys.
As a result of Rhys's question, I just wanted to know in the future, would it be possible to coordinate this type of money and aim it towards having a tree nursery so that we can start on these native trees and plants in order to renew the hedgerows and start at the plaza being part of the project? Certainly we can look at that as a part of the work that I was referring to in Appendix 2 is to undertake the projects that we are implementing and make them a bit more visual. We have a live list of what's going on. It almost touches on Rhys's point. We can review them as they progress. You don't see them just at the beginning and at the end. They are live, which evolve as they go along, and they change as well. So I could refer to that, Ifor, and see if there are opportunities that arise as a result of that. Thanks, Ifor. Anybody have any other questions or comments to make? Second, the proposal made by Rhys then. Everybody happy with that? Can we have a show of hands? Thank you. On to item 10. Annual report for the year 2025, communications and engagement strategy, performance indicators. Johan. I'm just going to share my screen, if I may. I just have some additional information for you.
Felly, trydydd ni'n llai, ie.
Felly, fel dwi'n nodi yn yr adroddiad...
As noted in the report, the press matters have fallen in relation to the statistics in comparison with in 2025 in comparison with 2024. You can see the figures. 16 press releases were released in 2024 and 7 in 2025. 22 reactive statements, written statements that is, when reporters got in touch with us, and 9 in 2025, and staff undertook 41 media interviews in 2024 and 37 in 2025. And I've noted that 2024 was such a busy year because of everything that was happening in Plastan y Bwlch, that we changed chief executive, and that we decided to use Eryri and Wyddfa in all of our communications, permanently that is. So with these statistics, there isn't much that we can do. Perhaps we could produce more press releases, but these are reactive and they're beyond our control as such. So I provided some examples here of the types of items that arose in the press last year. The second one is one of the positive ones. The rest of them are pretty debatable issues, and the same story tells a kid. The Wyddfa is an issue that arises on a yearly basis, and parking fees and Article 4, which arose last year. With the website statistics have increased quite a bit. As you can see, 3.6 million visited in 2025 in comparison with 3.1 million in 2024. It's still lower than during COVID. The figures were more like 5.6 million, so it has decreased quite a bit. but that was an unusual time, and of course but it is increasing gradually. The time that people stay on the website has also increased from 1.36 minutes to 1.57 minutes, and the link clicks when people download programs or go from one project to another has also increased 300,000. And those are positive statistics, and we are working over the next few weeks to improve the way in which the website works. We've had some problems with the shop events, and we're hoping to sort that, but we're very happy with the way the website works on the whole. Social media, I've added the full statistics for you, and the ones for 2024 and 2025 are here. I've highlighted the few of these. 2025 was when we experimented with the content that we put forward. We concentrated on the quality of the content rather than the quantity. You can see on the left there are 600 less posts that have been created by us and 12.1% down. But you can see in the second column, the number of people that have seen them are over 5 million more. So those are really good statistics. I just have a couple of clips to show you now, to show you the type of content that we show. There is a bit of a pattern now. We're working on visitors from April to October because that's when the demands are. And national parks tend to concentrate on the half-term in October to Easter. We try to intertwine the conservation work and the heritage work during the visitor season, when the information about transport and parking is the concern during that time. We're working closely with establishments across North Wales over the visitor season. We work closely with the police, and we're glad to say that we've worked with every mounted rescue team that operate in the national park in 2025, and we work really closely with Eryri, Mynyddoedd and Môr in Gwynedd between April and October. We almost work as a joint communication team. We can share our expertise and resources. I just have some examples now of the types of things that we delay on social media, and this was a joint project with the Mounted Rescue Team, and it was funded by the SPF and Gwynedd Council. Here it is.
Winter is amazing because the whole landscape changes. It's a whole new aspect of the hills, but it obviously changes the landscape. It can make navigation harder, can be more easy to fall over. The snow can cover hazards and make tripping and falling a little bit more of a problem. And if you do go over, if you twist an ankle or you have to stop for any reason, you can get cold really, really quickly.
You always need to ask yourself 3 questions in a way. So I would always prepare beforehand, look for about the weather before going, and just question yourself if you're competent going out in the winter. Remember to take out warm clothing. You possibly would need some crampons, ice axe, and yeah, always bring a first aid kit with you as well, just in case.
If you're coming down a slope in the winter on firm snow and you start sliding, it might be really, really hard to stop sliding, especially if you don't have an ice axe with you. So the Met Office is great. You can get really specific weather for the different hills. And that's really important because low down, it might be like it is today, so it'll be really grey and claggy, but that getting colder moving up means it could be really snowy and icy further up.
To help you prepare beforehand before going out, if you're planning on going out in winter, We do use the Rwyddfa Live website, so that's basically a website with a bit more detail in terms of the ground conditions, which the park kind of funds our contractor to go out to survey the path and to report back what you might expect when you to visit the mountain.
Hwnna'n enghraifft o'r gwaith nathon ni efo'r tîm achub mynydd.
As an example of the work that we that was an example of the work we undertook with Mountain Rescue. We undertake most of the work internally, but when there is grant money available, we have 3 to 4 companies that we use quite regularly, depending what the project is. And that was Rob Johnson, Filmer Pai, because he has expertise in mountaineering. And we do have other film companies that may be more suitable when we have a community project or a heritage project in the pipeline, depending really what the work is at the time. 2025 was an opportunity for us to experiment a bit with the content and try new things. One thing that we're trying to do is to increase the YouTube channel numbers, and this comes from a series of YouTube vlogs that we created for Wyddfa. There were between 3 or 5 on every one of these, creating 10-minute slots. We have 2 internal staff, sometimes 3, and sometimes we had partners who contributed from the police, National Trust, Plants Life. So it was a really good opportunity for staff to work about each other's work in a bit less formal way than in the office, but also learn about partners' work and working with the communication sections. And the police had a bit of money at the time, so they paid for us to advertise these videos. So the reach of the videos did very well on YouTube. That was great. It was a more informal environment here. So I would encourage you to watch that series if you haven't already. And it was a bit too much pressure to have 6 items in the year. So we're just going to do 3 on this format this year, on Caderi Trees, Llyn Tegid, and a short walk through the national park. And hopefully we'll be educating the public on how to visit the hotspots in the most sustainable and responsible way. We do like to experiment. We have to be corporate, of course, but communication is an opportunity for us to push the boundaries a little bit. I'll just show you the next clip.
Nicer weather. Perfect. I'll be back tomorrow. That's great. Also remember to check the weather forecast for Wyddfa before going up. The weather at the summit is likely to be much worse than the weather down in the valleys, so make sure you check the appropriate forecast for the mountain itself. And also, if the weather does worsen, don't be afraid to turn back.
So then just that probably
we experimented with a bit of humor, and our messages came through, the responsible messages, but we just saw clips like that that have been filmed and edited in familiar form. There were 6 videos and over 500,000 people saw them in comparison with the first one, where the professional filmed items reached only a couple of thousand. So it just demonstrates what can work and what doesn't work sometimes. So one other experiment was that we went out as 2 to 3 members of staff to places like the National Eisteddfod. We went to the winter show as well, and we made links with the public and our partners, and we had a bit of content like this for a change.
Amazing places to walk. I love the mountains around there, and especially Irwindale as well, and its rich cultural heritage, which has been fascinating for me to look into as a researcher.
Mae Eryri yn golygu adra I fi yn lwcus iawn o Gaernarfon. Dwi yn ei hanol I dweud gwir, yn cael chydig bach bob dim y môr a'r mynydd, a da ni'n cael gweld Eryri o bob cwr rili o Wynedd sydd yn anhygoel, felly da ni'n lwcus iawn.
Mae lot o bobl sydd wedi lleol rioed wedi bod mewn hana lawer rhan o'r Eryri. Mae'n rhan o'n diwylliant sydd mae'n rhan yn bywydau ni, a mae'n y calon yn bod yn cartra, adra, mae'n ag eisiau magu. Mae o'n golygu treftadaeth, rili cry Cymraeg. Dwi'n meddwl gwrch chi fwy o sense of belonging yn eich byd. Mae o'n ffantastig o le.
Oedd argraff cyntaf fi o Eryri pan nes I ddod yma?
Lawiog iawn, ond yn hawdd iawn, anyway.
Felly hwnna jyst yn un arbrawf arall allwn ni.
That was just another experiment. It worked great for get the value of money that we got, how much content we could get and how many people we could reach with our messages. So that's just a few highlights from the year in relation to the PR, press and the social media, and in general as a section, these are the things that we'll be working on in 2026. Like Dalit mentioned earlier on, there are 5 pieces of work that are being produced jointly between the communications, IT, and admin sections. There will be 2 full strategies, communication strategy and IT strategy delivered. There will be a social media strategy that will be delivered. The policy regarding how we use AI has already been adopted. That work has been completed, and we'll be reviewing how we communicate internally on that. And that is a part of the work that our section is a part of. And the other things, as a section, we are leading on Eryri celebrations, the anniversary for 75 years, and we'll be looking at sites and putting more emphasis on what interpretation we have on the ground. And so there's more work to be done with tidying things up and making things consistent. Strategic planning, there will be work ongoing with Plastan a Bwlch. And as a last note, I'd just like to say how lucky we are as an authority, because when we speak to other organizations, I think we're looking for of the leadership team because they see the value in communication, and we have staff and members. When we've asked you for contributions, you're so enthusiastic to contribute. It doesn't happen in a lot of organizations, and we're very lucky as an authority that we are able to deliver so much with the different sections and with different partners. So that's it, basically. Thanks very much, Johan. Social media is all new to me, but it's really important. Does anybody have any comments or questions? Dalit? Griffiths. Thank you very much. Those videos were very interesting. I've seen some of them, not all of them, but the message is very clear regarding don't go on the Wyddfa when the weather isn't good. And yet, We've lost 2 young men the other week, and the inquest has been to the 2 young ladies that died on the Watkin pool. The videos are great and everything, but we're not reaching everybody. How can we reach more people who come from afar to the Wyddfa, not looking at these videos? I know it's a question that you'll never be able to answer, really, but I feel very sad when we lose these young people on the Wyddfa, and I know we're doing as much as we can. Is there anything else that we can do to reach people who are a different target group? I know where you're coming from, Delyth. I don't think there's much more that we can do as such. Sometimes, like I mentioned, we work closely with the police, and they have a system. If they put messages up, they can ask the police over the boundary as well, and they can share it there. But how many people listen to those? I don't know. We do have ways of getting messages conveyed from the UK perspective, but I don't think you're ever going to stop everybody from being irresponsible. And they're being irresponsible, that's right, and they don't understand anything about what they're doing and which type of place they're coming to. We're losing young people all the time on the Wyddfa. With the Mountain Rescue Team in Llanberis, that was something that we discussed with regard to the messages being conveyed, and they've changed the way that they communicate, and they have stopped sharing videos, sharing positive photos of the helicopters. They've videoed some people saying we're not having a ride in the helicopter, so they've changed it to see what the real situation is and how bad it can be. But they also recognized it's very difficult to know what effect that can have. But time will tell. I'm not expecting a solution, really. I'm just wondering if there's anything else that we can do. In the winter, we're not expecting these things to happen, but it has happened this year, hasn't it? We do have a very close relationship with the communication officers, especially on the Llanberis and Ogwen Mountain Rescue teams, and we're trying to do things jointly as much as we possibly can. The best ones for our format to get our messages out, as I showed with the wardens, and those encourage people to talk amongst each other in the comment section, and we've seen that those are the best ways as far as we as an authority is concerned. The videos are great, and if you don't get the message from that, the one at the gate is great. The Wyddfa will be there tomorrow. Several people and our children have drawn attention to that as well. So thank you very much for that. On to Delyth Criceth now. Thank you. 2 things really. Just wanted to congratulate the team specifically because of the success and the traction that you get with the content on the communications channels. And to reiterate what Delyth said, it's difficult to get content that's authentic and authoritative to get the messages to hit home. It's an extensive array of messages that need to be conveyed. One thing I'd like to say, I wouldn't say concerned, but there are lots of policies and strategies for everything. And I'm not saying that there's a need for a strategy for everything, for social media. But you mentioned a strategy for digital communications. I say that that's the same strategy from different sections. And also, as the internal communication work a part of the bigger, the main communication strategy. No, that's separate. I think as far as the work that we do in measuring performance, we need to keep track of measuring performance against the objectives. If a strategy has its aims, and we could have a strategy for everything, and I just was wondering, do we need that, or can it be included in one communication strategy that's inclusive, not for the digital media, so that perhaps, but policy is the work that you'll be undertaking for AI, of course. But there is a policy for this and a strategy for something else. But I just feel sometimes, do we need to create an additional strategy? Can it be a policy within the main communication strategy, if that makes sense? I do agree with you, Delyth. Our communication strategy was created in 2020 originally, and it's had a review in 2022. So it's old now, and I think we do need a document in order to frame how we communicate in the next few years. And timing is a lot of this. And that the fact that we're doing this at the same time, we need some guidance for the section for the next few years, that's for sure. But just to make sure that all of the aims and objectives are aligned, because at the end of the day, the digital work is the channels at the end of the day, but of course there's a lot of work. But at the end of the day, it's communication and internal communication. We need to make sure that we are able to measure the different policies under one inclusive communication strategy. I'm not expecting a response, if you like. We just need to be careful, that's all, I think. Thanks, Delyth. John Pugh. Thanks very much for the report. Thanks for coming to the Mart a few weeks ago as well. I hope it's been useful. Talking of a Wyddfa, if you're saying that it's dangerous, more people will go there because people see it as a dare. It is very difficult. Sometimes saying nothing is better than saying that it's dangerous, because these days the young people like the dares involved and that they've been there when it is dangerous. When there are schemes like the P and erecting walls, could you put clicks on YouTube and TikTok? I see that young people are very use TikTok a lot to demonstrate how much work you do with farmers. And also with businesses that work within the park, because there's been a lot of negativity. People saying that there's nothing to the park with starting a business. You could bring it, make it more, bring it alive and seeing how things are going. It brings, especially with things like TikTok, it brings it to life. Just those two words, really. 2 points there, John. We do have quite a lot of material with agriculture and conservation that's coming up. We did quite a few things in the Mart, and we've given lots of attention to Ffermio Bro, and the INRS projects will get a lot of attention, but I do recognise the points relating to business. I don't think we're doing enough on that, but there will be quite a few things when we review Llanelli, but working with the business sector is something that we need to improve. Thanks, John. Thanks, John. What about the Wyddfa? Are we saying too much that it's too much of a dare? It's beyond our control quite often, really, because that's the selling point for North Wales Live and people like that. They can run those stories without us having any input into them, unfortunately, and there's not much that we can do about that. That's what sells their papers and provides them with content online. Ivor.
Iawn. Diolch yn fawr.
last. Thank you.
Fedrai'm camol yr adar yma digon. Ma' nhw
I
wedi
can't praise this
wedi
section
datblygu gymaint.
enough. They've expanded and developed so much in the last
Ac am
3
y tro
years.
cynta erioed
And
bod
for the
gofal
first time
cysylltiad
ever,
da
I think
rhwng,
there is a good
gwasanaethau achub yn Ogwen
link with the
yn Llanberis. Y neges, dwi'n meddwl, sydd
teams
isio
in
gweithio
Ogwen and
ar
Llanberis, the
ydi
Mount Rescue
sut
that
bod ni
is.
yn
We need to
cydlynu
work
pob
on
dim,
how we
bod y
coordinate
neges
everything
yn llaw yn
so
llaw
that
bod yn
the
saff,
messages go out
canmlwyd
hand in
a
hand
darpariaeth
with being
a
safe on the
galwyd.
mountains and
Pigo'r amser iawn,
resources.
pigo'r
So we need to
swydd
pick the
iawn,
right time,
ond ma' isio neud
pick
o
the
efo
right
hwyl.
weather,
Dim
but we
ond
need to do it with a bit of
efo
fun.
hwyl.
But I
Yn
think
eu
these teams
llaw nhw,
do have fun
neu yn eu calonnau
at
nhw.
their core
So,
and in
dwi'n
their
meddwl bod ni
hearts.
yn mynd y ffordd
And
iawn.
so I think we are going the right way.
Hefyd isio trio cydlynu ydi
What
sut ma'
I'd like
AI
to
machine
coordinate
learning,
how
sut bod ni'n
AI,
casglu
like machine
gwybodaeth
learning, how we
a
gather
gyflwyno yn
information
mwy positif
and use it in a more positive way
wel, I stopio pobl
to stop
rhoid I hynna mewn peryg.
people from putting themselves at risk.
Neges, dwi'n meddwl,
And that is
ydych
a
chi'n
message
gweithio ar yn y
that we
dyfodol.
need to work on
Ond,
in the
ma'
future.
hwn yn adroddiad
But
amserol iawn. deud
this
gwir.
is a very timely report.
Mi ges I pennaeth Ogwen,
I had
yr wasanaeth achub
the
Ogwen yn dod i ngweld
head
i
of service in Mount Rescue in Ogwen.
ac oedd o'n deud bod
He came to see me as I came home from hospital, and he said for the first time ever, he felt and he could see a good future working hand in hand with the partners in the park, and that's a really positive thing. Thank you very much, Sean, and thanks to the team. Okay, thank you very much. We don't have any more hands up. I'm looking forward to seeing you on Friday at 10 o'clock. 9:30, in fact, in the Plas Tan y Bwlch. I look forward to seeing you on Friday, and with those few words, we'll bring the meeting to an end, and thank you very much, everybody.
Well,
Helo, ydy Eifion yna? Lleith ffonio fi nes mlaen?
Do, wi yma. Beth isio?
Eifion? Newch chi ffonio fi nes mlaen, Eifion? Diolch yn fawr.